Hey everyone, Lazy Pen, live again. Testing a new noise suppression on the mic, so we'll see how this goes. Okay. Today, plug my phone in. Today, working on mining, breaking rocks apart, and breaking rocks apart, collecting the ores from the rocks. Yesterday, we did a little bit of work, but we didn't get that much done. Let's clear the chat. No, cannot clear it. Prevented by better TV. Oh, well, whatever. Okay. So this is where we got yesterday. In the game, this rock, if I press the L button, breaks apart. So now what we want to do is we want to associate, we want to be able to break the rock apart with Sven, the droid, using a tool. So we need a new tool to begin with. Okay. So, inventory items. We've got Ground Shock Master. We'll say, we'll call this Ground Shock Master's the other tool. There's only one other tool, which is that. We're just going to call this Rock Breaker. Really good rock breaker. Or something. And then we need two. In the inventory item list, we need to make a prefab. Really good rock breaker. Damage, value, work, properties, reticle size. We'll probably make the reticle size 4 because this is, I imagine it's just going to cast a reticle around Sven the droid, and any rock that falls inside that reticle is going to get highlighted for breaking up, for destroying. Okay. So let's just compile this, check it works, check it builds. Okay, so what I need to do now is wherever we see Ground Shock Master, we're probably going to want to add something similar with the really good rock breaker. Okay, definitely here. This is just the string localization for it. Really good rock breaker. There. Populate chest. That was just a test to see if we could have a custom chest that put in an item that we wanted. Because chests are, they randomize what items need to get put in there, apart from if you have a custom chest. So we don't need to worry about that. Okay, we definitely need, so this is where we give Sven the droid the items, the Ground Shock Master. So we need to give him a really good rock breaker as well. And this is where we're setting it. In the tech controller. So we've set it here as well. Bag, get slot, the inventory, item type, really good rock breaker. And we're going to go auto items, slot, get items. If we have items, then we're going to go tech controller, try set slot item 1, items not dot get ID. So that is going to set slot 1 in the tech controller. The tech controller is the little tool, the yellow tool menu. It's going to set it with a really good rock breaker so we can actually test that works. This equips Sven with the really good rock breaker. Where's my music gone? Alright, there we go. So once that's built, we'll test that. And if it works, we'll just see that Sven has a really good rock breaker in his tech bar. Okay. So we set a context on the tech controller of what we want to do. So this is where we're going to add in the routine for Sven the droid to go and break apart the rock eventually. Which is very similar to this. Okay, so if we go on... Okay, so he doesn't have it in there. So that must have failed. Let's see. It's only a try. Try set slot item. Item not get ID. 334. So let's see what happens. So it does work. It sets slot 1 with 334. Okay, so it's still not showing. So let's go to the game HUD and then the tech bar, tick tech bar. All right, so what's this? Tech controller gets slot 0. If is active, slot not color, slot outline color. So it's not generalized. Right. So that's the first thing we need to do. It's only working on slot not. So the tech controller has in it 4 slots. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is we need a routine that will draw the tech bar in the slot. Draw the slot in the tech bar, sorry. Where's my music keep stopping? Okay. Try again. Slot down, slot right. Slot up. Okay, so we're going to do void tick tech bar slot index. Just give me my canvas. We'll send in the canvas. Oops. So and maybe the slot bounds. We'll send in the slot bounds as well. Okay. So we will copy all these up here. Check that builds. So we're just going to go S in TC get slots. Now we could actually pass in the slot rather than the slot index. A lot of these is get slot index is active slot index. Yeah, so we'll go get max slot count. Okay, and then we're just going to go tick tech bar slot. Canvas, the slot bounds. So this is just an array slot bounds. We'll say there's 4 of them. There. 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 Okay, so that's slot bounds S, and that's S. And then all this goes in here. Except that is so that's auto TC equals get tech controller, get game state Okay, now let's pass the tech controller in. Yeah, we'll pass the tech controller in. Tech controller. Oops. Okay. S. So if we're getting the slot there, I'm assuming the slot has an ID. As an item ID. That's probably good enough. Well, we could just pass S. We can say tech slot input to generate the box ID. S. This is slot bounds. Slot bounds. Alright, let's just see if this compiles. Alright. So this is the tech controller. All right. Tick tech box. So that's optional. Colors. Auto colors. Let's get editor colors. Okay, so this is TC dot, and this is S. Execute tech bar item slot index. This is S. S is apparently. Oh yeah. Okay. S is slot index. Didn't call it S. Yeah. Slot bounds is slot bounds. ID, we don't know about ID. So what is ID? ID is tech controller. Get ID. Okay, which is just a U64, so we can just put that. Say auto ID. Whoops. Is that, and then this can just be ID. So what we're doing now is we're just trying to generalize drawing the text slots. Margin. What did we say that margin was? Tick tech tech bar. Margin was 8. Size was 76. Margin Z order. So auto Z order is canvas.get renderer. Is there a get Z order? There is. And we don't know about the font. Oops. Okay, so font and font size can just go tick tech bar slot, can just go in here. Canvas.get renderer. That can be renderer get Z order. Alright, that means that these can go away. If input tech by item 0. So that's like a shortcut for a tech bar item 0. Which is up, down, left and right. Okay. Okay, so I'll have to work on that after this. Putting the shortcuts in. Okay, so let's go to Sven the Droid. Alright, there we go. So they're all assigned to Ground Shock Master. So slot index 1. Okay. So this has to be slot index. So we'll get Sven the Droid. Okay, so we've got Ground Shock Master and we've got really good Rock Breaker. So that must be 0, 1, 2, 3 maybe. So I think possibly want it to go clockwise rather than up, down, left, right. So it's going to be up, right, down, left. Oops. So that hopefully makes it go clockwise. Okay, so we've got Ground Shock Master. Got a really good Rock Breaker. You can see it's moving the reticle out. We want a different effect, different reticle for the really good Rock Breaker though. We'll build that in a bit. Okay, so we need these anymore. We don't. What we do need is the input, the shortcuts. So e-game input action, hotkeys. And that's E input action, tech bar item 0, E input action, tech bar item. Is it 1? Up, down, left, right. So it should be up, left, down, right. I'm going to wind them clockwise. Up, left, down, right. Not 1, 2, 3. Is it? No, it's up, right, down, left. Up, right, down, left. Okay. E game input action, tech bar 2. E game input action, tech bar 3. So we could do it there, or we could do it in tech bar slot. Yeah, let's try and move all of these into tick tech bar slot. So if button is pressed, so we want is active slot. Do we have that? Is active slot, yeah. So let's move these also into here. If active slot. Okay. Let's push them back down. So what's the input to start with? The input method is get roaming input. Get game state. Get roaming input. Get roaming inputs. Okay. So we know we're active here. So if the OK button is pressed and we're active, we want to send an event. TC get ID to execute. And this index is slot index. Okay, that handles that. Or that case. Nope, not there. Or that case. So if we press the OK button, now actually doesn't actually depend if it's, yeah, no, it is right, it is right. If it's the active slot, and we press the OK button, or we press the tech bar button, shortcut button. So what's going on here? Those. So those to be like that. So we're saying if it's the active slot, do it, else set it to be active. Else, if we do that, TC set active slot, try set slot to active, slot index. So we have to press that, it will set the slot to active. And these actually come out of the slot index now. So we can get rid of that. So we just need that. So this is hotkeys slot index. Okay. So let's get rid of all these compile errors and test it. So if it's the active slot, if we can get the slot, if it's the active slot, if we press the OK button or we press the hotkey, it will execute. If it's not the active slot and we press the hotkey, it will set it to be active. Okay. Let's test that. If this works, we've successfully equipped the really good rock breaker. Okay, like that. So I pressed up for the hotkey there. Got ground shot master equipped. If I press right, nothing happened. So it works when I click it. not when I press the hotkey. Oh, works. Okay, so the hotkeys are wrong, in the wrong place. So I'm pressing down there and it's equipping the really good rock breaker. Okay, so tech bar item 1. So let's have a quick look. Slot. So where is slot 2? Tech controller. Slot 2 has, yeah. So tech bar item 1 needs to be equipped to the right arrow. Oh, I know what I need to do actually. Because this will come in, this is being loaded in from the config file. So I actually need to, if I look at the mapping, tech bar item. So I need to set this. So up, right, down. Up, right, down, left. I had it saved in my config file as a different thing. Now that should work. Alright, so if I press up, it equips Ground Shockmaster. Press right, it equips a really good rock breaker. So what I also want to do is if you right click on it, I want to unequip it. Else, if input dot button is pressed, cancel, tc dot try set slot active dot what is it, clear active slot. So I think cancel is the right mouse button. I can't remember what it is mapped to on the keyboard. I'll find it. Controls. Cancel is X. Alright. So if I equip it and then I press X, it unequips it. So if I equip it and I press the right mouse button, it unequips it. There we go. Okay, so we can equip really good rock breaker now. But I want a different type of reticle because this red thing here is designed for the Ground Shockmaster to blast things into squares, whereas the rock breaker, it needs to be like a circle that expands out, which we may or may not render. And then if this lies in the circle, I want to put a little icon up saying that that's the rock that you're going to break. And then when you fire the really good rock breaker, it does that. Alright, cool. So we'll check that in. Okay, so we need so we need to figure out where the laser grid and stuff and the reticle, where they get rendered. So I'm planting droid. unspawn, laser grid effect. So we create the effect, but we don't play it. If it's playable character, find effect, get the roaming scale planting laser. Where do we actually activate this effect though? We just create it. Obviously not here. Oh, we have open effects. So if prefab, so we get to the tech controller, if there's an active slot, okay, cool. Inventory active slot changed, so that's fine. It's here. So we open the effect if the prefab has a property that it's tech. So I thought what we want to do is we want to go if prefab, get if prefab type equals ground shockmaster. So I don't think we actually want to do that because we might want this for other different types of item. So I think what we're going to say, we're going to have another property called grid tech, right? Which means it fires a grid. It uses a grid to as to like select what you want to do with the tech. And the ground shock master needs a inventory property grid tech. Okay. And this has each property grid tech. So that means it will only fire for grid tech items now. So let's just test. So if this works, the ground shock master will have that cool laser grid, but the really good rock breaker won't, because we're going to build what that reticle looks like. Next. All right then. Which means we need a new type of effect. Might just call it rock breaking reticle. effect. Right then, so let's get Sven the droid. So Ground Shock Master, that spawns it, and if you click on Really Good Rock Breaker, it should close the effect. Great, because we're going to replace it with a new one. Okay, so we've lost the ability to right click on the item. Turn it off. Okay, we'll fix that. So why isn't that working? Text slot. Clear active slot. So press that. So that is not firing. Oh, because it cannot be hot. I'm not sure about that. So I wonder if, so we'll call click clear active slot. So it only works if it's not hot. That's very interesting. Why is that then? I mean, it's not really a big deal at the moment. Which means that if the person goes onto it and then right clicks, you can't click off it. You have to actually be off the thing. If that works, if I right click, it closes it. If I'm off it, if I'm on it, I'm not getting right click. I think what we're going to do is, if we're hot, I'm going to say if TC is active slot, and we'll just have a separate check there, clear it. Either that or something being hot suppresses button clicks. So I think technically we need e-input method mouse for that, because it's only mouse. So we do that. Yeah, so it's still not allowing me to do it. Must be suppressing it if it's hot. Okay. So let's make some temporary stuff. We want to say auto window equals canvas. Get input window. Input window. I'm just gonna say if window right mouse button just down. Okay. Click it and then we'll right click it. Active slot index is not. Yeah, so that's true. Button is pressed. Cancel. Button 2 is down. Yeah, that's right. Oh, and not anything hot. Okay. Button is pressed. So we want to possibly supply the input box ID. Yeah. So that means here we have to supply box ID for this to work. Okay. Let's see if that's solved that. Sven the droid. So we'll click on it, and we'll right click it. There we go. Oh, look it. Yeah, that's correct. That is correct. So if we right click it now, if I right click anywhere, it moves it. It removes the reticle. Okay, so now we need to build a reticle for this. So we've got grid tech. We're going to say circle tech. And then we're going to make the this circle tech, which basically means we're going to be able to pick it with a radius rather than on a grid. So I believe let's move some of these out of the way. I believe that we need to make an effect. We need to spawn an effect. Droid on initialize. So on spawn, there we go. So it's here, not there. grid tech. And go, if prefab and prefab has each property, inventory item property circle tech, else. So we need to open the circle effect, which we haven't written yet. Okay, so we'll see if we get it here anyway. Put a breakpoint there. And then we will test and see if we land it. Which means we're in the right place to start opening effects. Okay, so on spawn is where we make the effects. So we've got a picker reticle and a laser grid 0. So what I might do is make a circle pick reticle, circle picker reticle. Tick 2 ever called? It's not even implemented. Tick 2. Okay, cool. We'll just remove that line of code then. Okay, so the circle reticle is, we'll start off pretty simple. Circle picker reticle not effect. Circle picker reticle 0 effect. We'll create them. Put it in the list. So we probably need a position and a radius, I would say. Back to position, float radius, and then we'll just supply it. All right, position is position. Whoops. Radius is radius. So we probably also need some kind of tween, because we're probably just gonna like open it out like that and close it like that. So we'll use a tween. Tween F. In out tween. We'll have an in-out tween. We'll have an in-out direction. We need to set this. start and target. So we're just gonna go Queen F. What do we call it? Out tween. What do we call it? In out tween. Gone open. In out tween dot set naught to radius. Well, we'll say naught to 1. Multiply it by the radius in the calculation. And then on close. Where's on close? Yeah, on close. We're just going to go in out tween dot set the target to be 0, and we want in out direction to be in out direction to be out, as in fade in, fade out. Okay. So this returns false if the in-out direction is out and the in-out tween value equals 0. So in-out tween dot tick dt, and then all the e's are gonna go in out cubic, I think. And what does that give? Does that actually give the value? Say tick, it just returns a value. That's nice. So that's the scale. So we're just going to go canvas dot draw circle outline in worlds position radius times scale. We'll just say 1 int max for now. We need the segment count 16. Okay, so when we open it, we set the in-out direction to be in, and we're going to tween from 0 to 1. When we close it, we set the in-out direction to out, and we're going to tween back to 0, sorry. Okay. So let's try and make one of these. So we want U64 circle picker. Effect ID. Then we're going to say circle picker effect, circle effect. We need the position of where we want. So it isn't the position, is it? It's who this effect belongs to. Yeah. So it's not position, because this effect is going to move around with the droid. So it's radius and owner ID. That's right. Well, when we do on open, I think that ID is possibly the owner ID, or is it the effect ID? It's probably the effect ID, so no, that's fine. So this is owner ID. Whoops. And this is owner ID, and the position now is auto position equals get game state, get NPC position, get entity position. Okay, can't do that. Get game, get entity position, owner ID. If we can't get the position, we're going to close the effect. If not position, we're just going to return false, which means the effect will just stop rendering. Okay, so that means here now, this can just be standard to underlying ID. Radius is going to be well, that radius is going to depend on the item. So we probably need a set radius. So if we set the radius, we want to set the tween value. Okay, that means that the tween value has to go between 0 and radius, and then we don't we'll just have to times it by the radius then. Okay, so set radius, and what that does is it says if in out direction equals in radius value, radius equals value, and then we want to do in out tween set radius. So we always want to set the radius like that. If we're tweening in, we need to set the radius in the tween as well, which will grow it. Hopefully, we'll see. Okay. So we've got our circle effect. We'll pick a radius of 1 for now. So we'll just say, we'll just hard code that to 1. And then we want to go circle picker effect ID equals ec.create effect, game canvas, standard move, circle effect. Right, so we've created that effect now. Then when we tick it, Okay, so now we need to open that effect. Here we go. So get effect controller, open effect. Circle effect ID. Get effect controller, close effect, circle effect ID. We also want to set the radius. So auto E equals get effect controller dot get effect find effect circle picker effect ID. So if we do find it, E set radius. Okay, as if auto we want find effect type. So the effect type is circle picker not effect, and we want E set radius prefab reticle size. So that will set the radius of the circle to be whatever we specify for the item. Okay. Let's see what happens then. So if this works, you get like a circle drawn around Sven the droid when we click on the click on the tech bar. Once it's built. Now I don't know if we're actually going to render anything in the game, but it just does give us a circle to test, to hit test with. Okay, so if I click on really great rock breaker, we don't see anything. Okay. Let's debug that. So we didn't find the effect. Okay. So it's not even showing up in the Visual Studio IntelliSense, which makes me think this is not built properly. Circle picker effect ID. So no, it has got an effect. Effects. So it's not even in there. Got the picker reticle and the laser grid. So we didn't actually even create the effect. What's going on there then? On spawn, create effect. Circle effect. Create effect. Effects 3. So we've got it there, 7, 9. So if we look at them, circle effect, effects, we've got 3 effects in there. Circle picker. Alright. So if we now go and find it, click on it. It's only got 2. Oh, I'm confused by this now. Okay, let's just cache out the effects controller. And we can look at it. There's only 1 effects controller in the entire game. Okay. So the effect controller has 2 effects in it. Okay, so what's going on there then? I expect actually we're making... No. Check they're the same effect controller. It's like destroying the effect immediately. So let's break when that value changes. Okay. So it's ticking and it's saying it needs to be removed. So it's ticking it once and saying it needs to be removed. Yep. Which is not what we want. So if we go to circle, where is it? Circle on tick. So we do get a tick and then it immediately tells it needs to be removed, which is not what we want. Yeah. Interesting. So we tick them even if they're not open. No, that's true. We do want to tick them if they're not open. Okay, that's fine. That's good. So what we want to do, we want to change the tick a bit. Where are we? Circle, retica, tick. So we just want to say if in out direction equals none, return true. Do we ever actually want to cancel this though? Because yeah, this is actually around all the time. So I think we always want to control to return true unless there's no position. And then we're just going to say if scale, right. Can just say if scale for all of that actually. Yeah, because this effect stays alive all the time. Yeah, I remember how this works now. Okay, so we get Sven the droid. There we go. Okay. And then we can use this to determine where we want to mine to. Or which rocks we want to pick for mining. So we obviously want that to be quite a lot faster. We'll say 10 times DT, 10 times fast. That's pretty fast. Bit too fast. Say 5. That's good. So that's quite far away as well. I might make that circle a bit smaller. Which means the reticle size for this, we'll make it 2. We'll see if that might be a bit small. Let's go like that. So now we can use that to pick out the rock. So we need to be able to pick out the rock with this effect. So it is a picker. How do we pick out the grass for the picker reticle? Get active inventory prefab. Like it can detect if it's able to. Try set target. Is valid. Get tech controller. Inside a plantable region. Okay. So we need a new region. We can either do it by region, or we can literally look for sprites with a certain tag. So if we look at, go to the game state and look at this physics test, we go through each sprite and we test it, and then we get the bounds, the effect bounds. And the effect bounds are what we want to test. So it just means we need to associate iron ore rocks so we can do it in properties. Sprite state properties. We could put it in there. We could say like this is a circle. This can be detected by the circle picker. Okay, so I have an array, inventory item property, item properties. We can say dot item properties equals the inventory item property circle tech. All right, nice one. If I declare that, include inventory item. So we can say that iron ore rock is circle tech. So that means looking through every single sprite in the game as well. Which isn't, not in the game, in the level. Which isn't that bad. Like a faster way would be to get the level to just set a bounds, get the level to set the bounds for iron ore rocks in the game. We'll keep it simple for now. So the effect controller, when we're ticking the circle picker, we need to if auto level equals get game state, get current level, auto location is get game state, get location, or just get NPC, get entity. So we could do it here, couldn't we? We'll just say, yeah, we'll do it here. We'll do it here. Auto location equals get game, get entity location, owner ID. So if there's not a location, return false, and this is location position. Then we want to go for auto sprite in level. Get sprites. If sprite.room ID is not equal to location.room.id. Okay. So we need to cache the room ID. So I think room ID equals, so we just hash the location room. So if it's not a room ID, not interested. If auto props equals get sprite, what is it? Sprite, get sprite state, get properties. So auto props equals get sprite states dot get properties. State get properties sprite.kind. Okay, so that is actually not optional. If not props dot item properties contains e-inventory item property circle tech. So if we're not a circle tech item, then we continue. So we can't pick it with a circle picker. So it's circle tech now. So now we need to get the bounds. Which we do here. Which is that. So this is picker bounds. And then we need to go if geometry circle intersect circle rect with circle picker bounds, center is location, position, radius is scale. Okay. So I think for now, all I'm going to do is go bool intersects false, intersects equals true, break. If intersects else, we're just going to draw it. If it intersects, we'll just draw it red. Alright, we'll test that. And if this works, I'll have a 2-minute break. Get a cup of coffee. I've just run out. So if this works, when the circle goes over the top of the rock, it'll just go red. So we also want to pick, we don't just want to pick like all of them, or what the first, we don't want to pick the first sprite that satisfies these properties. We want to pick a bunch of candidates and then find the closest to the player, because we always want to pick the closest one. So we'll do that next. Okay, so if this goes over here, does it go red? It does. Awesome. So that just means we're in range of a rock. So the idea is we're in range of a rock, and then we fire something and the rock breaks apart if we're in range of it. Okay, I'm gonna have a 2-minute break. I'll be back soon. Alright, I'm coffeeed up. So what we actually want to do is just pick the closest rock. All right. So we can do that now. So what this is probably going to want to store is the ID of the sprite. I would say that we're going to destroy. So if we want to get the closest one, we want U64 sprite ID, and then we want float dmin. We'll set that to be the biggest value. So for intersects, we basically want to say so we want to get the distance of the picker bounds do we want to test the intersection first or the distance? We probably need to, yeah, we need to test whether it intersects first. So we want to get the closest one. Let's see what we have. Got minimum distance between line segment and point, because I don't really just want to do it closest to the center. It needs to be the closest to the rectangle as an area, because you can imagine a big rock and a small rock. And if the big rock is closer to the player, or is further away from the players, the center of the big rock is further away from the player in the center of the little rock, but the big rock extends over the little rock, you still want to pick the big rock. So what we need is like a distance from rectangle. So what would that be? So you kind of want like the minimum distance between a line segment and a point for all of the points on the rectangle. For all of the line segments in the rectangle. Okay. So in rect base, we want minimum distance and this is gonna have to be forward declared, I think. Well, minimum distance const vec2 base scalar type point, and that returns a float, right? Minimum min distance between line segment and point is 2. So it's forward declared. Good. So we can do it straight here. So we want 4 points. And that's, say, top left, top right, bottom right, bottom left. So they're the 4 points of the rectangle. And then we want auto d0 equals compute min. So where is this? This is in geometry. Geometry. Min distance between line segment and point. So we want point 0, point 1, point. And we do that for all. Do it 4 times. So we want 1 to 2, and then we want 2 to 3, and then we want 3 to 0. So that's top left to top right to bottom right to bottom left to top left. Okay. And then we just want to return bm min d0 d1 bm min d1 d2 d3. Okay, let's see if that builds. It does, which means in the effect controller now we want to go auto d equals pick a bounds dot minimum distance to the location position. If d is less than d min, sprite id equals sprite dot id, and then we can just say if sprite id. Right, then let's see if this works. Can't work that out. So what does this actually look like, this function? So if this works, we should see no difference in what it looks like, but it's actually picking out the minimum sprite, the sprite closest to the player. If we have that sprite ID, then we have the sprite ID we need to blow up, which is great. Changed the maths library. We've added to the maths library, which is a bit of a, takes quite a long time to build now, because obviously everything uses maths, the maths library. So everything needs to be rebuilt almost. All right. A link error at the end, but it's fine. So let's see if this still works. There we go. So we intersect. We want the minimum distance. It's 1.3, which is definitely bigger than smaller than FLT max. Okay. So we have our sprite ID. So we need to do something with it. We basically need that. We need to set a context now to say that, like, this sprite, this picker is picking this sprite. So we've got try set target, which actually does the execute as well. So you set the active slot context, planting context, and then it executes a hotbar item. Or it doesn't, it just returns the execute hotbar item. It doesn't actually call it. And it returns the event. If the input is enabled. So this is just if we wanted to pick it with a mouse. Which you may or may not want to do. So we just have to set a context. So this is the planting context, modifying context, planting context. Breaking context, inventory item context. So let's do rock breaking context. And then this is basically the sprite ID. We could pass the bounds as well. Well, let's just go U64 sprite ID. So we need to do try set active slot on the bag. So the bag is the inventory bag. So that's not quite right. The tech controller set active slot context. Okay, so that, wherever we just made that context, is not the right place. We want it to be in the tech controller. So we just get the tech controller and then we set the active slot context. Okay. If there's a sprite eye, so we go auto TC get game state tech controller owner ID. If TC set active slot context rock breaking context sprite ID. So we probably do want to say pass this bounds in so we don't have to recalculate it again. So we will do that. So right sprite bounds. Sprite bounds equals picker bounds. And then we want to pass in const right bounds bounds. All right, so now we can pass in sprite bounds. So we can say if sprite ID and sprite bounds.area, check that the bounds is valid. So now we've basically just set we've just told the tech controller what we want to do, and we press the OK button. Okay. So in entity state types, if we look at what we do when we're about to plant, so let's just see if we get an execute hotbar item event now. We set the context. So if we'll see if we actually get an event to say that we want to execute a hotbar item. It's tech bar item even. I'm not sure we do. I'm gonna have to wrap up in 5 minutes because I've got something to do for an hour, but then I'll be back this afternoon streaming. Probably from around 1 o'clock GMT. Yeah, we'll see. Like, I don't know if this will fire. We'll see. And we haven't even told the game where we want Sven to stand. So if I press now that button, oh, it does fire. Actor 4 slot index. So execute tech event, what does that do? So interesting, that is very interesting. So we didn't actually tell Sven where we want him to be standing when we actually execute the tech bar. Which is maybe, yeah. So if you do ground shock like that, it's going to move. To the right position, and then he executes. That didn't happen with this tech event. So we need to, that's something we have to work on this afternoon. We need to figure out how we can get him to move into place before we execute. Which I think will be straightforward. We'll just see how he moves into place for the when he destroys the grass. Alright, so I'm going to head off and I'll be back at around 1 GMT.